Friends, um, it's kind of moment when your labor comes to fruition and it's out there in the public. That's a great moment of joy, great moment of uh, sharing that one hopes would contribute to the discussion and debates as we go along on this very important topic. Just briefly about Corporate Responsibility Watch. Corporate Responsibility Watch is a group that has come together, a group of organizations and individuals who have their roots in development work and who've been working in the field of development for past several decades. And it's a group, I think, that has its roots as well as its heart in community development, that has been working several years in that field. And importantly, it's also a group that recognizes that in this, in bringing about change, businesses have an important responsibility and a huge responsibility to play. It is that recognition that brought us together to start looking at this or forming this group called Corporate Responsibility Watch. And as both Nisha and Puran and the film which we have seen, the task is huge in terms of how to bring about change. And if we are talking about bringing about an equity or bringing about development of all the people and talking about SDGs and the whole question of leaving no one behind, I think we are a long way to go. The task at hand is very, very huge. We have seen that, and one particular concern which has been repeatedly been said is this whole question of amassing of wealth and how it's getting concentrated in few hands and it does not get distributed. So equity of wealth creation is a huge concern. And we do know that if businesses have to step into the role of playing this role of developing country and its people, then it's not enough to look at how businesses spend their profit, but as many people have said, how businesses actually make those profit. It's also important to look at that. And I think it is this recognition that is at the core of Corporate Responsibility Watch. So we're not talking really about the 2% CSR. We are talking about how the profits are made and how that being responsible businesses can actually contribute to changing the face of the nation for the better of its people. So about 3 years ago, we started as a first step to look at the disclosure that is happening, which was mandated by SEBI under BRR. And we started looking at how top 100 listed companies are beginning to disclose what was mandated by BRR. We have seen this analysis over the last 2 years. If you look at it, there has been an increase, a welcome increase in the level of disclosure. What we did in those two reports were essentially looking at how much companies were disclosing. This year, we have gone one step further to look at more than that, and this India Responsible Business Index is an outcome of that attempt at looking at going beyond just reporting to look at some more detailed aspects of creating an index that could be used to help companies to look at themselves, help people to understand how our companies are doing their business in a more informed manner based on data that is available publicly. More of the details of how the index was evolved, what it contains, etc., will be shared by our colleagues. I would just conclude by saying that At this core of the watchdog function of Corporate Responsibility Watch is that overarching desire of what the Sustainable Development Goal says of leaving no one behind. That's the overarching desire with which Corporate Responsibility Watch is formed, and that's at the core of it, and the recognition that more than anybody else, businesses in this country and elsewhere have a huge role to play, and it would certainly benefit from independent voices such as that of Corporate Responsibility Watch coming out with how businesses are doing, which provides not just watchdog function, but a function of enabling companies to move forward in bettering what they're doing. I must also say that this whole effort would not have been possible without the involvement of many, many people, many organizations, Oxfam most certainly. There's also been Change Alliance and individual people who have contributed a lot of time and effort that went into making something like this. It was, believe me, it was a huge task of many, many, many days and nights of work, of first getting the data, putting them together, making sense out of it, getting back to companies, asking them for their feedback. It was a huge task. And a lot of intellectual work that has gone in voluntarily into it. And I think many, many people who have contributed to it. To name a few, Amita, Joseph, Viraf, Annie, Ashok Bharati, uh, Ramnathan, Subhash Mittal, John, Anand, Archana from Change Alliance, all of them. Um, these are people who have individually contributed to this, and last but not the least, I think huge amount of hard work that was put in by both Praxis and PIC is what made this indexing possible. We do hope that this is the beginning of a dialogue about responsible business, not just amongst business, but also amongst average citizens, amongst development workers, as we move forward, looking at the goal, fulfilling the goal of leave no one behind. Thank you very much.